Everyone, welcome to the Douglas Planning Board meeting for April 30th, 2020. The meeting is being recorded and will be available for viewing on the Douglas Public Access channel and on the Douglas website. We'll come to order at 7:05. First item on the agenda, public hearing, Cooperstown Road Realty Trust. Application for a definitive subdivision, residential compound, Hawk Hill Farms Estates. 772 Northwest Main Street. In accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 80T and 81U, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 9, the Town of Douglas Rules and Regulations governing the subdivision of land in Douglas, Town of Douglas zoning bylaws, Section 4.4, residential compounds, and Section 9.3, special permits. The Douglas Planning Board will hold a public hearing for owners Robert S. and Christine Chapman, Joseph E. and Megan C. Schleichman, Cooperstown
Your packet.
Road Realty Trust for an application for a 6-lot definitive and residential compound subdivision entitled Hawk Hill Farms. The plan by Andrews Survey and Engineering dated February 3rd, 2020. Property location is 768 and 772 Northwest Main Street. Tax assessors map 109, parcels 1, 2, and 3, and tax assessors map 123, parcel 8. Public hearing is being held on Tuesday, March 24th, 2020, at 7 p.m. in the community meeting room, Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. Copy of the application may be viewed in the Community Development Department during regular business hours. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan should appear at the time and place designated. Notice March Chairman, Douglas Planning Board, public hearing is now open.
Okay, before we get started on this, just a couple general comments. I was asked by the town administrator to ask the board to kind of just keep it short and, to the point. Let's not, go back and forth over a lot of things that are unnecessary, just so we can expedite this.
Yep. Okay, thank you. All right.
Ernie,
Yes.
Tracy, could you also just recognize me as on remote? I'm present.
Yes, I didn't hear what you said.
Can you recognize her as being on remote?
Yep, you still
She's
recognize
present.
Tracy. You are on remote at the hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and the only one absent is Les Stevens.
He's coming.
Okay. All right, is someone here to present the plan? Talk about it?
Yep, I am. My name is Jude Dobbin. I'm from Andrews Engineering. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
The screen keeps.
Okay. As stated in the description, this property is located on Northwest Main Street, and the applicant is looking to divide this a little bit further. There's 2 lots right now that exist that have homes on them. The applicant has joined with the neighbor, and they're looking to subdivide it further into the residential compound and make 4 lots. So there'll be 2 additional lots that happen. The proposal is there's an existing driveway there now that varies between 16 and 12 feet. They're proposing to maintain that alignment and widen it where necessary from 12 feet to the required 16 feet. And at the end of the turnaround, the proposal is to add a T-turnaround so that emergency vehicles can turn around and get into the site and back out.
Yeah, that's good.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's existing right now. So there should be another plan that shows the division now.
Not that far. Keep going up. Keep going up. Right there. Got it. Sorry.
Perfect. So as you can see, lot 1 and lot 2 are the existing houses, and lots 3 and 4 are the proposed new dwelling. That tan or brown area is the proposed private right-of-way cul-de-sac that accesses off of Northwest Main Street and ends with that bulb at the end that'll become a T turnaround. Our parcel C plans on being part of lot 1, and the other parcels will just remain as parcels.
Thank you. Bill?
So, what was the engineer's name?
Jude?
This Jude from
Jude?
Andrews.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
never met him. Hi, Jude. Did you get my comments that I emailed to Byron?
I did not.
Okay. If you, do you have a computer in front of you?
Yes.
Can you navigate to tinyurl.com?
Would it be your comment letter number 1?
Yes. / Douglas Planning Board. Oh, well, you could do it this way too.
Yeah, if you just, we'll sum it.
Yeah, okay. So I did, well, let me start off by saying that the Emergency Operations Center, the Civil Service Department of the town has reassigned me. So I have other duties that I've been focusing on, which is part of the reason why this has only gotten out today. And I apologize, Jude, to that. But nonetheless, I think there's a couple of basic issues that need to be discussed by the board before really the applicant puts too much effort going forward. So if you take my comments and you look at, I'll get to the heart of the matter. Number 3 in my comments.
Are they in the packet, Bill, or are they set?
They're in the packet. It should be at the end of the big binder clip
It's
section.
on the back.
On the back.
The back of the whole package, the one that was
Yeah,
clipped.
it's number 3. It's up here if anybody wants to look at the screen.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. So the regulation says, to qualify for consideration as a residential compound, the subdivision must satisfy all of the following conditions, provided, however, that satisfaction of the following conditions shall only result in rendering the plan eligible for further consideration by the board pursuant to this section, and does not guarantee approval not more than one residential subdivision plan shall be created from a property or a set of contiguous properties held in common ownership as of May 26, 2009. Documentation to this effect shall be submitted to the planning board along with the application of residential compound plan approval. So if you could go back, Kevin, for a second to that figure. Yeah, that one. So there's actually 3 different owners on 4 different parcels. So parcel 109-1 is Robert and Christine Chapman. 109-2 is Joseph and Megan Schlesman. And the remaining Cooperstown Road Realty Trust. So I think the board should discuss that issue first and see what they want to do on it.
So that's a criteria of using the residential compound.
Correct.
Compound, right?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Bill, isn't this something, I emailed you about regarding the compounds and the difference between that? There was another one, residential compound and,
Rotary guidelines apply to the group meeting.
Was that? The ones we were comparing, Les, one was a conventional subdivision with waivers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying because we've got like conventional subdivision with waivers and hammerhead lots and stuff like that, residential compounds, and then the other one was, escapes me what the other one was.
It's the only 2. So you have 2 types. You have residential compounds or you have a conventional subdivision with waivers. And in either case, I don't believe you can do hammerhead lots on the new road. It has to be on an existing road.
Existing road.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think, if you want to, can also give these guys time to respond too, because in all fairness, they only got this comment today.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I think hammer out the comment first before we go any further.
And that's why I'm bringing it up.
Before we put a lot of time into this, let's get that all figured out. And then we can go ahead and go from that point.
You know, so there's that question, and the other major issue that I see going on in this submittal, and I'm just going to boil it down in a very simple way. Although this is a residential compound, they still have to comply with the other requirements of the definitive subdivision process. So for example, monuments, road grades, you know, features such as that are elsewhere in the defense. If they trigger stormwater, in this case, I think they do. You know, so there's a lot of those things that really were not even addressed in the application. If they're looking to request waivers for those things, they certainly can. They only request 2 waivers.
Can we get our other board member up?
Recovery meeting spectrum.
What's this?
Family members can just.
Someone trying to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I think, so Bill and I had an exchange this week, and it wasn't related to this project, so I'm kind of, I should see back on it. It was just talking about residential compounds, and I think one of the comments was that you can go up to 10 lots, and stuff like that. And I think when we had previous discussions about our bylaw related to residential compounds, the fact that it was, you know, 3-acre lots, and, you know, instead of like a reduced type of flexible, you know, a flexible development, where you could say, okay, what can you do with a defined plan, which I think is the whole related to stormwater management, monuments and stuff like that. How many lots can you put in there with a standard subdivision? And then what's the benefit of doing a flexible or kind of residential compound, but with a reduced lot size, but more open space? You know, that was our previous conversations related to that bylaw. I don't think we never picked it up to change it.
Right.
But just want to recap to the board members some of the thoughts that we've had in the past. Because I think one of the concerns was, you know, you're going to have 3-acre lots in here, you know, 10 house lots in this private drive supporting 10 homes and on a private way. So there's some challenges there with that.
Definitely.
You know, because, you know, the town's not going to maintain that. So
It can't be just a trip road.
yeah, and so I think,
It'll be something that.
When you're making 3 lots here,
nope.
You know, there's a question on the number of lots too. Kevin, if you could call up that map again. So the engineer's presenting it as 2 existing lots on houses on lots 1 and 2. 2 new ones on lots 3 and 4. But if you look at parcel A, that's actually got enough area and frontage to be another lot. And potentially, if they reconfigured things, that parcel D, C, and B, you know, they could reconfigure that to get at least another lot there too. So.
But under a different subdivision.
That could be an A&R plan or.
Yeah,
something.
Oh, for that, yeah.
Frontage is on Northwest Main.
But the point is, you know, this is more than just 2 and 2.
Oh, no.
And that's why I talk about the stormwater. It might trigger stormwater now
Right.
because of that.
especially where, and I know right what this is. I mean,
This is the slopes down right to the road.
it slopes down and you have the other road going down the lake almost directly across from this driveway. It isn't offset.
That's partly where these other subdivision rights come into effect.
Right.
One of the things I'm concerned about is the offset. We have a regulation in our subdivision requirements that says you can't have an opposing street less than 125 feet away. And they are less than 125 feet.
Oh, Ledgestone on the other side.
Yeah.
On the other side of the road.
So again, that,
I mean,
then
so-
maybe you'll grant a waiver,
Yeah.
but that needs to be dealt with.
Right.
No, Bill, I agree.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we're not talking, neither of these are high traffic areas, but in the mornings, I mean, I drive the road every day. There are cars coming in
Yeah,
the road all the time. It's
Yeah.
no-
Our road's a pretty well-traveled road because
Which one? Northwest.
northwest.
Yeah, that is. I'm saying Ledgestone and the driveway here.
How far
Northwest Main is,
700.
I know the number, I saw the
Not
number, but
quite to
where,
the town line,
Yeah.
before the town line.
Before you go down.
About halfway before, where,
in Sutton,
huh?
No,
that town line?
yes. Headed out of town, yeah.
In other words, it's,
It's heading to Woody Farm.
Isn't it?
so way past, your street was it? Oak
Yeah.
Street?
Yeah, more, halfway down that road.
It's close to the old cemetery that's on that road. There's an old cemetery on the right side.
Yeah, it's before.
Yeah.
Just before that.
For that. So,
Hey, Bill, anything else?
I mean, I have comments in the letter, but I think they can take the time to take a look at that and
So I'm going to ask the engineer, like, time to respond to the comments from our engineer. Comments that we made tonight here at the hearing. Clearly, there's some issues that have to be addressed before you can move forward on it.
Am I hearing that we have to comply with the subdivision rules and regulations for what? The stormwater, it doesn't trigger stormwater because it's 4 lots. So it doesn't trigger the Massachusetts stormwater. It's not considered a road, it's considered a driveway, so I don't know if the offset from Ledgestone would matter. It's not 10 lots, it's 4 lots. So there's only 4 lots being served off of this. It's not a huge impact on traffic.
But this is the bylaw, one name, one.
Go ahead.
if you're supporting more than one resident, you got more than, it's a road at that point.
it's a road. This is a filing for 2 things. It's a definitive subdivision filing and a residential compound filing. So let me explain it this way. Residential compounds are a subsection within the definitive subdivision regulations. Okay, so for example, it says the right-of-way width can be 30 feet. Elsewhere in the definitive subdivision regs, it says minimum of 60 feet. Now, obviously, they're in compliance by complying with 30-foot right-of-way width in that subsection. However, there's nothing in there about, and I'll use this as an example, concrete bounds for roundings, okay, monumentation. The subsection of residential compound doesn't say anything about that. So where it's addressed in the definitive plan stands.
Agreed. And it's important because we've, as a board, have had issues even with standard subdivision with monuments, even with private, residential compounds with monuments.
Yes.
So, it's a very important thing for people to know where the markers are. To your point, if they did a concept of a subdivision plan, then that can be a baseline of here's what could be developed here and here's what we're asking for, showing that delta. We have people do that with flexible development plans, right?
Well, that's a requirement of
Correct.
flexible development. And I think actually they did something along those lines when they first came in like a year or 2 ago.
Okay,
I think they did that. It's on that webpage.
okay.
In this still section 4.3.2 even addressed.
That's the
That's the
biggie.
That's the biggie.
Once that gets addressed, then there's other issues that are out there.
Which one is that? Is it
That's the 3 owners versus
Right.
1 owner. Yeah.
So how does the applicant address that?
Well,
It's up to him.
they just got it, so I would say let them digest it and respond.
Can I ask a question
Yeah, we'll take questions in a minute.
I do also want to point out, and I was asked repeatedly, to make sure you're aware that the abutter has sent me an email and he's got a list of comments. It's an email, it says Hawk Hill Farms Residential.
Yep.
On the,
That's one of the butters.
part of.
Yeah, he didn't know if he'd be able to.
Well, there's other people there that we don't know who they are.
Where,
Oh.
where relationship to this, is this a buzz property?
This is actually a landlocked parcel, so if you're looking at the map,
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to that.
Sure. Okay, he's somewhere in this vicinity.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, yeah, yeah,
And
all right. And right now, does he have access to it?
I don't know the answer.
that's the email. Do you know if you got it?
Yeah,
He does?
no,
There are landlocked parcels that don't have access.
correct. Yeah, it'd have to be written in his deed.
I did look for that and I did see he didn't have
Yeah,
access.
it probably wasn't done back in the day.
Yeah, I don't like the idea, if we're gonna approve subdivisions, if there's landlocked parcels that they stay landlocked, there should be access to those landlocked parcels. I don't like creating parcels that are landlocked land.
Right. There needs to be some resolve, you're suggesting,
Should be that way.
or accommodation or something.
Yeah, there should be accommodations for land that is landlocked. An easement.
Yeah, and in the past, planning board has always made like a 50-foot access strip for any future parcels and stuff like that. And I think the only thing that the town hasn't done is have those transferred via to the town of a right of way or something like, to the town. Because we've had to go in the back, in the past, go after those via tax titles to claim those pieces, such as the ones above Brookside.
Right.
So, that should be one of the things, if we have those access strips, to be able to transfer it to the town, so it's a way of access in the future. Not held in a developer's hands, and then.
Yeah, they'll be the gatekeeper.
Correct, yeah, and it becomes more of a problem for the town.
Yeah.
So,
This is a private way. This isn't a accepted way.
Correct.
Well, how would providing access to an abutter who's landlocked? I'm not clear on what you're trying to say.
Who's landlocked?
I think that's one of the concerns that the abutter had raised in his email.
yeah,
Well, I just tried to read that on the screen. Isn't that April 13th?
Well, the way he said, yes, it is. The way he lists it is he wants to be sure that he retains access to his property, which to me implies that he has some sort of access. So I'm not sure how that is.
yeah, I'm not sure.
That's good. You know,
We'd have to.
I'm not even, what parcel is he? Because they own all of these that access the road, so we wouldn't be landlocking him at all. I'm trying to read the letter, and forgive me, but it's very small, and this is the first time I've seen this letter.
Is it posted on our website, Bill?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
email it over.
Oh, can I say something?
Yes.
It's Tracy.
Yeah, go ahead, Trace.
So are we talking about addressing the very first one, like you said, Ernie, to qualify for consideration, even in the beginning here, before they go through all of these, the list of things that are not met? Are we gonna vote on the satisfaction of that condition? Or, because I think we kind of need to do that before they move forward, right?
Yeah, I don't see us voting on anything tonight.
No,
We
we're
just
just-
opened the public hearing tonight. And
Well, we first have to decide, since it doesn't meet regulatory requirement.
Right.
It says,
The common ownership of it.
yeah,
Right.
so does it even qualify for this type of application, or should they go in a different direction?
Doesn't it say common ownership? Right?
right?
I mean, like, one
Cooper-
family.
The Schlesmans own Cooper's Realty, the Realty Trust, which I didn't see it. It was the first one that you submitted, that you showed on the letter. But they have common ownership of those, and it's a co-application with the Chapmans, so it would all be under the same contiguous ownership.
Are the Chapmans and the Schlesman Cooper's Town Road Realty Trust as a common owner?
The Schlesmans own the Coopertown Realty Trust, and they control that land as well as their house. And then the co-applicant is the chapter.
So this is my point where let them have an opportunity to respond to the comment. And then, we can assess the response. So it says that, I want to point out that it says that it has to be held in common as of May 26, 2009.
So even if they,
And they have to document that.
so even if they put
as
a
part of
limited
the
partnership
application.
together, a real estate partnership, it's had been by 2009.
These are three separate owners from my perspective.
Right. That's the-
So I think we just need a pause there and wait for their response instead of going through each item on the plan with the landlock and the drainage and the stormwater and the number of lots.
Agree.
I agree.
We will resolve that first.
So we all agree, yeah.
There you go.
Should we hear who's on the screen?
To keep with Bill's request from the town administrator to keep things simple and straightforward.
That's why I was asking the engineer, the applicant.
Right.
Because I think if they want us to continue the public hearing to the next meeting,
Yes.
we'll give you time to respond to the comments from our engineer.
Yeah, I'd love to review them and figure them out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And, all right. So you had a question? Can you have your name and address, please?
Sure, my name is Meg Schlesman. I am part owner of Cooper's Realty Trust and also 772 Northwest Main Street. My only question would be, what other provisions have been made for residential compounds in Douglas in the past in terms of ownership by one continuous party? Are there other residential compounds in place in Dublin that you voted on similar things?
Cornell,
They're
Cosma.
Yeah, they're families, individual families
Yeah.
that take their lands and they do
Yeah.
something with it.
Colma on Maple Street.
Furno,
Furno on
Southeast Main.
Southeast Main.
Yep.
What about Cardinal? Is that one?
She's asking if there was separate ownership, right?
No. Yeah, we're just talking about, those are all common ownership.
All common.
I think she's asking if there's been exemptions or there's been
Yeah.
some.
That's what she's asking.
Right, and there hasn't that we're coming up with.
Yeah, we're
That's
just
not-
reviewing the one.
Right.
Yeah, they've all been family.
So can you just tell me the definition of common ownership? Like what does that mean?
If you're married to somebody, if you're family.
It's a
or-
legal,
Well, I would say let's see what they come up with
Yeah.
for their response, and then we'll have time to think about it and
Yeah.
respond.
But it could-
I don't want to have the board put on the spot.
Right.
Nope.
And, right.
But a group can always do a subdivision, right? You can get together, partnership and do a subdivision for us, right, with.
It's,
control
the
over
date,
that.
the date is the tough thing. You
yeah.
know, I mean,
that-
it's got to be by May 26, 2009.
it's another-
No, but I mean, to do something different, I'm trying to understand that. If they all got together and they put a limited partnership together and it's called whatever Realty Trust, they can come back to us with a full subdivision, right, of some sort, right? Can't they, with a road and everything?
It says,
But not-
set of
not under
contiguous
this, not under
properties
this.
held in common ownership as of May 26, 2009.
Yes, I know
So
what
on
you're
May
saying.
30th,
Right.
2009, it's a no-go.
Yeah, for residential compound. Say something.
Here or
What?
To Aaron's point, they could do something other than residential compound.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's what I'm
absolutely.
saying.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I didn't get that.
They can
Yeah.
bring professional together and do a real subdivision, you know, they can, do
Oh, yeah.
whatever you want to call it. you know?
Yes,
Do it all.
Right, I mean, it's not a,
There's definitely-
it'll, something could happen, it's just,
correct.
under this, we're saying it's difficult because,
They may be able to do a common driveway also.
Common driveway.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to have frontage, ample frontage on Northwest Main Street. I don't know,
Right.
you know,
They could do a private subdivision.
yeah.
but, let's not redesign it. I mean, let them respond.
There's options there. Move on.
But there's some
All right, so
people,
would you like to be continued to the next?
Oh, this is gonna be tough, yeah.
Is there anybody,
We gotta talk about
Bernie.
when our meeting
anybody
dates
else
are.
online?
yeah, Bernie, you have to, this is my fifth zone, so we have to, people that are online there are like out here, but they're, so the whoever.
Is there anybody else online that wants to ask a question?
Z&T, Teresa Aziz, who's that? Are they not hearing us? What about
Okay.
Lori Hunt?
Nobody's raising their hand.
Any response?
No.
Okay,
Response from anybody? No?
I don't see anything up on chat, but I think.
okay, but we have to, you don't want to be, we have to like ask them. Yeah.
So no questions from the audience?
No? No questions.
Jude, thank you.
No questions.
All right. Our next meeting, Bill, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, we can't do Tuesday nights.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So,
Is that 26, 2009 date, is that hard set? Is there a possibility of a waiver on that for them?
this was a bylaw section that I think even.
That's the date that the bylaw came into effect.
It's
Yeah.
also a little hand.
At the time when they created it, they said anything
I
new.
don't have a.
They didn't want
Is this Zoom
people
or not Zoom?
going out of their way to
Oh,
compile
yeah, I'm just on
properties
Zoom,
to
like,
get
but they have like a little hand you can
into
raise
this
to the
Right.
when
person.
they
Hello?
drafted that regulation.
Can we,
Someone's saying hello.
Someone's trying to-
Someone on?
Question?
Hello, this is Karen Stark.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You have a question about?
You can scroll, Kevin, that thing.
I think Karen's on next on the
Yeah,
agenda.
okay, all right.
Is that right, Karen?
Yes.
Oh, yes, this is for William Stark. He's here right
Yeah,
now.
you're next. We're not there
Oh,
yet.
hang tight.
We're not there yet.
Yep. So Bill, do we want to just leave it open-ended for our next meeting? We'll
So
continue to our next meeting.
All right, Bill, what is your comment about our meetings?
Yeah, let's try now.
So we can't do Tuesdays, which is our regular meeting now.
Right.
Okay, I know there's a couple of Thursdays that school committee has taken the room.
Okay.
Two Wednesday.
Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month's no good, that's the 6th, because I know ZBA is in here. We could try for like the 13th, the 20th, or the 27th. If you want to do 2 weeks, it'd be the 13th
13th of
of
May.
May.
May. So we need a
Rather than the 12th.
And if that's problematic, I'll
notify.
Yeah, just don't.
notify.
That's Thursday, that's gonna be-
We'll have to postpone again.
That's
Send
Thursday.
it out.
Excuse
We can only have one meeting at a time, so sometimes the other boards occupy the room. So
That's a Thursday,
that's a Wednesday.
Wednesday? Go ahead,
All right, is everybody?
You're changing 512 to what?
5:13.
The agenda calls out, says next meeting's 512.
That changes, that's,
Yeah, we're changing it.
I asked that there be an agenda item to discuss calendar dates for meetings, but I don't see it on there.
Oh,
that's.
so do we just take these?
Don't worry about those.
Yeah,
We
don't worry
need
about
to,
We'll correctly post the
I'm
meeting
going
when
to the
that's gonna
casino
happen.
that night.
Huh?
Right, Bill?
yes.
All right, so we need a motion to continue the public hearing for Cooperstown Road Realty Trust for 768 and 772 Northwest Main Street to 7 on Wednesday, May 13th.
Second.
Motion made by Mike, seconded by Aaron. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, so the 13th?
Yep.
13th will be the right day.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, I mean, there's a different way to do this. You get your signatures.
No, I understand that.
But
Trying to
apparently,
have it like today is really not ideal.
oh my God, I mean, that's the thing, the engineers have to like vet that out, and lawyers and all that stuff. We all get tripped up.
All right, so that's that one, that.
All right, next item on the agenda. My glasses just walked up.
It's pretty hard to understand you, by the way, speaking through that.
Yeah, don't talk.
Give them the mic closer.
All right, public hearing. William Stark, application for an accessory apartment special permit, 12 Parker Road, possible. Let me read the,
Please speak up a little.
In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 48, and the Town of Douglas accessory apartment zoning bylaw, Section 3.3 and 9.3, Douglas Planning Board is holding a public hearing, the application of William Stark for an accessory apartment special permit. Property location is 12 Parker Road, assessors map 121, parcel 2, Douglas, Mass. Public hearing is being held on Tuesday, March 24th, 2020, at 7:30 PM in the community meeting room, Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. A copy of the application may be viewed in the Community Development Department during regular business hours. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan should appear at the time and place designated. Ernest Martin, Chairman of the Planning Board. Public hearing is now open.
Mrs. Stark.
Here we go.
Yes.
You're up.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, you're up.
Okay, how can I help you?
What do you want to do?
Who are you?
Did you submit the plans? Yeah. Right, okay, you have the plans there, and we're just looking for an in-law apartment, granted,
Can you state your name? Can you state your name?
Yeah, this is, William Starrock.
You want the project drawings up, Bill?
Sure. Thank you.
Is he got a picture there?
Yeah.
Can we see him?
He's in audio only.
Is he? Okay.
You guys have video?
Yep.
Connecting through for some reason on our computer.
Are you using your Chrome browser?
He said someone's on
No,
there.
no,
Their house.
Okay, so what we're viewing right now is the house plans that you've submitted in. Can you just give us an overview of what you're building and what your square footage is of the in-law?
Where's the new?
Yeah, we're looking to exceed the town, they accept the 900, the bylaw, we're looking to exceed the 1,200 instead of 900.
Okay.
And we were looking to exceed instead of the 50 feet, it would just be 150 feet from the existing building.
Okay, so it's a detached structure?
Detached, yeah. And we don't have any neighbors.
Yeah, it's a detached.
Well, this whole, what we're seeing is a new structure.
Yeah,
The whole
it's
thing.
totally new.
Right, so Kevin, can you select locus map of the site? It's the top link. Okay, so this is the existing house. It's on Parker Road.
Yep.
If you scroll down, it says zoom in and it kind of shows the aerial features of the site. So that northerly or top property line is 400 some odd feet. They're looking to locate this structure. I'm not sure where on this lot. We don't have a plan view showing where the proposed structure is.
Kind of important.
But they're looking for 150 feet away. The regulation is 50 feet, no more than 50 feet. They're looking for 150 feet. And then they're looking to increase dimensionally the square footage from 900 under the bylaw to 1,200, Mr. Starr?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And the reason for the extension on the 150 feet is there's a garage in between. And so if there wasn't a garage, we could certainly do the 50 feet, but there is a garage in between. So that's why we just need the extra 100 feet.
So we're looking at a map of your property. Can you kind of verbally describe where on the site the proposed building?
Yeah, on the picture as we're looking at the computer, it would be the top left-hand side. You have the house, then you have the round garage, and then it would be on the other side of the round garage. And also, we don't have any neighbors for like almost a quarter of a mile, sometimes half a mile almost.
That's not a pool, it's a garage?
Yeah, I thought it was a pool, sorry. So did I.
That's a garage?
Yeah,
Really?
that's a round garage.
So how does that jive with this?
That's the first picture, that's the overview.
So,
Was it what?
don't we need a
Garage.
proposed? We can't be, you know, like this, we need things.
First of all, it's 1,200 square feet as opposed to 9.
And it's 150 feet away opposed to 50.
On the same lot.
Right, it's like,
So can I also say one thing?
please.
So what is the plan for the septic system?
Yeah.
Yep. And all that.
Well, yeah.
Let's let Mr. Stark ask that.
Yeah.
Or answer that.
And what about, I thought, we had to be the
Yeah, we
same
do one
time.
question at a
Tracy?
time.
Tracy, was
Yes.
the septic system, and I don't believe that this is staying true with the intent of the bylaw. And I don't see why this structure could not be located somewhere else and maybe downsize a little bit if something's in the way. It should be tying into the existing system on the site as to not create two principal structures on one lot.
Correct.
Correct.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
We all agree.
I think that's what we've had in the past for those applicants, that they would share the same
We
sewage.
get a response from Mr.
And not only that, wasn't it supposed to be the 50 feet so that they could do same utilities, 1 meter?
Yeah.
They would have the meter,
Yeah.
and then that would get the secondary house, it's all being run off the main house.
Yeah.
It can't be a meter and power source and all that going to the second dwelling.
No, you're right.
Yep.
Did you hear that comment, Mr. Stark?
No, I didn't. A lot of people are talking over each other and it's hard to hear on this end.
Okay, first of all, your septic system, it has to be the same septic system that you're currently using. The
Yeah,
utilities have,
we
have
can
no-
abide by it.
we don't know what that is. All right, you
Yeah,
have to
we
be on
can
the,
abide. Same sewer system, sir.
You have to share the same utility. It has to be the same meter.
Yeah.
Um, You also need to
Yeah.
show it, you need to show the location of the proposed on your plan, which is supposed to be no more than 50 feet away, which is what the bylaw is. So, and you're asking for a waiver in the square footage, which is 900 feet to 1,200 feet. So
Right.
those can be addressed. Sorry.
Well,
For the 150, right?
Yeah.
on the property itself, the only reason we need the extra footage is so we can put it on the other side of our existing garage. Otherwise, on the property, there's really not a good spot for it.
Well, you need to show it on a plan anyway. We can't assess something we can't see.
They gave
So-
us a list. Yeah.
Can you put a plan up?
Yeah, you guys gave us a list of what we needed for the meeting, and we gave everything that checklist had entailed,
No.
including the plans to the actual, like, the blueprint of the house.
No, well, you have elevations of a house and a plan of a house, of a brand new house, that's over the required 900. And we don't have a plot plan or a plan that shows your proposed location.
That wasn't asked for on that checklist. Not to be rude, but if I knew that, I would have supplied that.
Well, it's part and parcel to any development.
Yeah, it's probably, it's gonna be part of your building package anyway, so you're gonna have to show where you're tying into the existing septic system. We require it to show where the two dwellings are and how those are gonna coexist. You know what I mean? And the setbacks related to where the new structure is gonna be. We don't know if you're approaching on a setback with a deck or something like that, with the new structure. So
No,
that's-
the existing property around our property line, we own, sir.
You need to show us what you want to show us, because this is a monumental project. This is building a brand new house on your property, and we need to make an assessment of that. So we need to see where it's going to be located, what your proposal is, and you're going to need some waivers from this board.
Okay.
So we want to help, we just want to help you help yourself,
Yep. So you need a like a plot plan is what you're looking for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the location of the proposed.
Yeah, I think something that what's required in the bylaw is that you have to demonstrate and satisfy the board that this has the appearance of a single-family house and not two houses on one lot.
Yeah, well, you won't even be able to see the house, actually.
No, we can't worry about what happens in the future if someone comes through and cuts down a bunch of trees, in the future and buys a parcel next to you. We need to see it on a plan related to the requirements of the setbacks and offsets and how it's gonna be located on the property, whether there's trees around you or, stone walls. We still have to see it, so we know that you're not impacting, any future, properties around you and where it sits on the property. So, and we need to know that it's
Yeah.
gonna tie into the existing septic system, so that has to be clear
Yeah, whether
where
it's-
that is on a plan.
Whether it's gravity fed or pumped, it could be downhill, you know, you could be under 50 feet away and downhill.
So,
So we have a next meeting, we can, you know,
The other thing I'm bringing up is you understand, you can't run separate utilities to this house.
You're saying that the detached apartment has to be running off of the same electricity system, the same septic and everything like that, correct?
Yes, sir.
with no additional meter.
yeah,
Yeah, you could do it eager beaver.
Yeah, right. We can meet that criteria.
Just
I mean,
take them back to the next meeting, that's all,
Yeah.
continue it.
Yeah, you understand you've got some work to do on this project before we'll approve this. I mean,
Yeah, we understand that.
We've allowed
suggestion-
variances a little bit before, but you're asking for a lot on this one.
Would you like us to continue to another meeting and then you can, you understand what, I mean, this, we
Yeah,
can't
you're looking
do
for a plot plan,
anything, any regs.
exactly where the building's gonna be situated.
correct. Yeah, where the proposed structure is gonna go.
Can we discuss the waivers at all first, to give them some advice going forward if maybe the board's not feeling the thing?
relative.
Well, they're asking for 1,200 square feet
Yeah.
and the 150.
Yeah.
If the board doesn't want to do that,
Right.
I would be strongly recommending to keep it at the 50 feet.
Yeah, I would too. This is
Yep.
what it's-
I would not be inclined to grant that waiver.
Right. I wouldn't recommend granting either waiver.
This is the spirit of what it is. I mean, no other town has what we have that I know of.
Yeah.
You gotta come a little bit more into compliance with the rules and regulations for an accessory apartment. You're asking for way too much that we'll be willing to give, I believe, at this point.
But we're willing to look at it.
Or that we have,
What's the square footage
Yeah.
of the existing house?
Yeah, we thought that, because we do own all of the property all around the whole area, I'm talking, we're on like a 90-acre parcel here. We were just figuring that, that would be able to be waived because we have no neighbors and we're not selling our land.
it seems like the wrong process.
That doesn't matter. You're doing it within the confines of the parcel you're on right now. That's all we look at. We're not looking at
how much land?
You have to meet the rules, you have to meet the rules and regulations for that parcel. It doesn't matter if you want all the land around it or not.
I mean, they could come back with a family compound, right? They have all this land, right? But if, one family owns all of it,
They can do whatever
They can do whatever they want, so that's-
They can do whatever they want. If they come back.
and then they could put this
with the rules
house
and regulations.
300 feet away if they want.
Yeah, they can't, you can't do this.
Right,
This is
absolutely
too much
not.
to ask for one lot.
So
You'll have to reconfigure it and
we can
come into compliance with the rules and regulations a little bit more. We can continue till the next meeting if you'd like.
Yeah, we'd like to do that.
Okay.
all right.
How long do you want on Cooperstown?
Well, you're gonna need a plan, right? Just so you can see it on a map on where we're looking to put it.
Yeah, but are you also understanding that we're not likely to approve anything more than 50 feet away? This is sort of an opinion of folks here. So take that into consideration when you're looking at it again.
But,
So
yeah,
you're telling me that, you're telling me that basically nobody gets a variance?
Not for triple.
oh, this is a waiver. It's a variance would be the ZBA board.
Yeah.
The 50-foot separation was put in place to ensure that the septic system would be a shared septic system to be able to tie into, as well as the utilities with wells and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that's why,
do both.
that's why it was put together. I don't, in the past that I can recall, I don't recall the board ever granting a in-law setup with over 50-foot separation, maybe 60 max, but nothing that I can recall that has been over 100 feet. And then the square footage, I think the highest that we've ever gone up to is maybe 1,000.
Yeah, somewhere around
And
there.
that's about it. So just things to take into consideration because, what you're asking for is above and beyond what the board has previously passed.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Bill, time?
7:30 on May 13th.
Public hearing, does anybody have any comments?
Yep.
I don't know.
Anyone
Throw
else
it out there?
on the,
Does anyone that's listening in right now have any questions or comments on this project?
No, not at this time, sir.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, too.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion then to continue the public hearing for William Stark at 12 Parker Road to 7:30 on Wednesday, May 13th.
Second. Motion made by Mike Z, seconded by Mike Z. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Sorry. It's not, it's going to Douglas, but they're going to go up to Gallows.
Bill, do we know the towns that have attached in-laws?
I made it.
No, there's very few.
There's very few.
Very few. But even in-laws themselves.
Yeah,
I don't
that's a,
believe Uxbridge allows in-laws whatsoever.
I don't know.
They did.
Oh, is the whole thing coming in tonight?
Yeah, they're here. They should be here.
Separate
Then
clause
sign
to
that.
put a accessory.
Now, you have to read this public hearing notice, Ernie, okay? Because we're opening one of them. Actually, the shade tree and the scenic road, I think we need to
Where's this?
open again
Uxbridge allows,
because
but
of
doesn't.
notice. for-
It's every town different, so. Yeah.
Okay, are we waiting?
We had it.
This one, Bill?
A little behind.
I can't see that far, Ernie. It should say 45 Oak Street halfway down.
Oh, what's happening to Blue Wave?
Yep, okay. Got it. All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing, BWC White Reservoir LLC, CO Blue Wave Solar. Application for a public shade tree permit, application for site plan review permit, application for a scenic road permit at 45 Oak Street. And part of this public hearing is a new application for a shade tree, right? In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 87, Public Shade Tree Law, Section 3, cutting a public shade tree, hearing damages, Town of Douglas zoning bylaws, Section 9.4, for site plan review, Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 15C, and the Town of Douglas General Bylaws, Article 5, Section 6, for scenic roads. Douglas Planning Board and the Tree Warden are jointly holding a public hearing on the application for BWC White Reservoir LLC, CO Blue Wave Solar applicant, and Susan Muzinski, owner, for a permit that consists of constructing a plus or minus 3.9 megawatt AC ground mounted photovoltaic energy system within a plus or minus 40.96 acre property zoned as rural agriculture. Also, the applicant is seeking a scenic road permit to expand an existing opening within the stone wall and for the removal of approximately 5 trees within a scenic road right of way. The site is located at 45 Oak Street, assessors map 132, parcel 5, as shown on the plan prepared for BWC White Reservoir LLC, CO Blue Wave Solar, entitled Oak Street Solar, 45 Oak Street, Douglas, Mass. By Beals and Thomas, Inc., Civil Engineering and Landscape Architect, 144 Turnpike Road, Southborough, Mass., dated January 31st, 2020. And surveyor, how do you say that, Bill? Spatel?
Spatial.
Spatial data and design, 90 Main Street, Millbury, Mass. Public hearing is being held on Tuesday, March 24th, 7 p.m. in the community meeting room, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. Copy of the application may be viewed in the community development department during regular business hours. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan should appear at the time and place designated. So as Mr. Chairman, the public hearing is now open.
Mr. Chairman, I recuse myself because I'm going to butt off.
Okay, but you really show that Mike Zuber is accusing himself.
So, Mr. Chairman, may I ask you a question? This is our third meeting with this group, right?
Yes.
I believe so.
Right, and in the first meeting, we asked if they would engage the selectmen in a pilot program. I want to ask if that's been done. Is the applicant here?
Yes, so this is Jeff Murphy here with Beals and Thomas. Also on the call are Matt Parlon with Blue Wave, as well as Jackie Firsty. And I'll let them, I guess, speak to the pilot program. But I think it would probably be best, if possible, to just go into the scenic road portion of the discussion. Just because that's kind of a self-contained discussion.
I'd like to put the before the mirrors. So, can we have an indication? My jacket's stuck. Can we have an indication on that, though?
Hi, yes, this is Matt Parlon from Blue Wave speaking. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes. Yep.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for hearing us tonight. Yeah, so typically we engage with Board of Selectmen for the calculation of a pilot amount once the project has sort of completed its initial permitting, so he has have an understanding of the size. However, I understand there is a town meeting coming up in the near future. Once that date's been set, we are happy to sort of go through the process of putting a item on the warrant so that the Board of Selectmen can be granted the authority to engage in a pilot. As we understand, that's typically the first step they like to take.
Warrants, we haven't even opened the warrant. So the town meeting date is to be determined, which potentially could be in September. And to enter into a pilot agreement, that doesn't need to go to town meeting.
You have that authority already.
We have that authority under town bylaw. Right. It can come directly to us.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
I did, yes. Thank you.
So they have the authority.
Rather than 511.
So 2 months ago, whatever, we're asking if you would enter it
That data is old.
into a pilot program where maybe there's a sliding scale, but at least some understanding between the applicant and the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, we'd be happy to put a form document in front of the Board of Selectmen.
Right, and that would be a credential for, what is it called, criteria for us approving this project, which is what.
So you're saying, Aaron, it would be a condition in the
A
decision?
condition, isn't that what's happened with all our other applicants before? So
At the request of the applicants, we did put a condition in.
Sure.
Asking that, they be required to enter into a pilot agreement.
Right, and that's a favorable partnership for all involved, I think.
Yeah, we absolutely agree, and pilots are definitely our preferred mode of operation as well. And I apologize for the time delay. It was likely a misunderstanding on our part. My assumption was that this would be included as a condition of the permit and completed.
So are you asking?
But
so are you asking that be included as a condition for our permit?
Yeah, we have no problem having a.
Excellent. You're asking for that, correct?
Awesome.
Yeah, the applicant has to request that. Yeah.
That's why I'm asking that.
In writing
Yeah.
as well, behind, yeah, that's great.
Well,
Okay. You're in agreement with it?
Matt said that, right?
Okay. Yes, he did.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. You're presenting the shade tree, Jeff, part of it, Murphy?
Yeah, I was hoping that Kevin might be able to share some plans just up on the screen so I can kind of speak to that plan we prepared for the scenic road impacts.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, there's a lot of plans there.
Yep, so the fifth item down is entitled Scenic Road Plan. So if you could browse to that.
This is the one.
This one?
No. It's a plan I think he's looking for.
Yeah, it was like the fifth item down.
There you go. Cool.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. There we go.
Yeah, it's the one that says Scenic Road Plan. Yep. So we refiled our initial application for the scenic road permit and public shade tree permit to coincide with the relocated entrance for the project closer to the home. So we've shown the work within the public right-of-way here. We've got a kind of triangular shaped area of impact, which is that kind of hatched area. It's about a 550 square foot triangular shaped area. We've identified approximately 6 public shade trees within the right-of-way that will be impacted by the project entrance there. So we have a table there outlining those trees. The trees were identified in the field and marked with red and white flagging, and signs were posted on the trees that were large enough to have that legal ad notice placed on the tree. So we had also provided photo documentation of that process being done. There's about a 50-foot section of the existing stone wall that would be impacted by the apron here, the larger turning apron for the driveway, and we're proposing to basically rebuild that existing stone wall along the side of the driveway as depicted on the plan.
Can you just make sure when you rebuild the stone wall that it doesn't exceed the height of the existing stone wall, so there doesn't create a blind drive or anything like that?
They could use the stone wall.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's all.
Yep. So I imagine it'll be yep.
That would be common practice anyway.
Oh. Some people just
try to build a fort there.
Yep. So the work within the scenic right-of-way is pretty minimal, and the majority of that triangular shaped area is actually already kind of clear of vegetation. It's kind of just a grassed shoulder, and then you've just got those couple trees right in front of the existing wall. There's some photos in the photo log if any of the board members want to see that. That was the thing that Kevin previously had pulled up, just showing some photos.
We saw them.
Yeah, I think most of those trees are the, honestly, they're the Canadian maple trees that the town's got all around. So they're pretty well rotted and outdated.
Tree warden has looked at them and I think he emailed.
Yeah, the tree warden sent an email in saying that the trees that were marked, he had no issues with being.
Good.
Okay, yeah, I think they've seen their better years. So, okay, good. Actually, we'll improve the sight line and see.
So they need a permit from us on this. What does it say?
So there's three permits in front of you. It's a shade tree, it's a scenic road, and it's a site plan review.
Yeah, I'm okay with the scenic road aspect.
We can do scenic, you can, that's certainly up to the board, yeah. You
can do it. Well, I mean, we can do the shade tree and the scenic road, right?
Yes.
My only comment would be, be cognizant of, in the event that changes get made, now those hearings would be closed.
No, I think we keep everything open.
Okay.
So I would suggest that you keep them all open at the same time.
Yep, I agree.
And then if something impacts something else, then just deal with it all at once.
Yeah. And then,
Board have any comments or questions?
I'm okay with the, I'm okay with the data that they provide so far regarding the entryway and the trees.
I think we're pretty much in agreement that we're okay with that.
That's the
West shade tree.
What is a shade tree permit?
So what does the permit would allow them to remove the trees that have to be removed to construct the project.
Trees over a certain diameter within the public right of way.
So it's a removal kind of permit?
It's a removal,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So just moving it along.
Yep.
I know the Conservation Commission asked that through the applicant asked that they be able to hire an outside consultant, an engineering firm, and I know Steve Zisk has sent out some requests for proposals to a number of firms.
Okay.
That's in process, and I've been tied up as I mentioned, and normally I would do that in-house, but other things have taken priority. I would say that we utilize whatever results come through the Conservation Commission's peer reviewer. However, what I was going to recommend is that we utilize our 53G account to pay for that consultant.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
And then beyond that, I would say we might even expand the scope a little to include something like decommissioning estimates.
Did we already have something submitted by the applicant regarding decommission?
We did.
Okay.
Yep.
We haven't confirmed that yet, because that's what.
Correct.
Is that the 53G, right?
Yeah.
Consulting is in conservation themselves, their board tied to that as well.
They do have the ability to utilize 53G, but I'm not aware of any instance where they have. They use their wetland protection account.
Okay. Okay, I just want clarification on that, that's why.
Yeah, this would fall under 53G more.
Correct, but yeah, and sometimes if conservation has access to 53G, then that would be the point to use it for versus through the planning board's one.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Does the applicant have any problem with that?
I spoke with Jeff earlier and he didn't seem to have an issue with that.
So you're on board with that?
Yeah.
All right, Bill, anything else?
I don't think so. Jeff, do you have anything else?
Yeah, so I did just want to mention this to the board. So if Kevin, you could pull up again, we have submitted a revised plan set that's dated April 3rd. And we reissued those plans as a result of some comments, with our discussions with the Conservation Commission. But when he pulls up the site plans there, one of the changes that we made was to the we did some grading changes up on top of the hill in order to basically generate some earth cut so that they could use that to build. Yep.
Jeff, what plan sheet are you looking at?
Yep. So if he goes to sheet C302.
Okay.
C302. C.
Keeps
in Charlie.
C
C is in Charlie.
Oh, okay.
Yep, C-302.
You just scroll.
Okay, there it
I think it's sheet 8 of the PDF set. Yeah, sorry, there's a lot of sheets.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, okay. I'm not seeing it quite yet, but anyways, it's basically they're just looking to regrade. We're just looking to regrade the top of the hill, which is currently kind of a ridge line. And by doing that, we're going to generate some earthen cut that they'll be able to use that soil to construct the stormwater basin berms out of. So essentially that regrading on top of the hill is the only real change to the plan. Everything else is, as we've seen previously, all the basins are identical. So again, it's just to reduce the import of material required to try to come up with a more balanced site. I mean, there's certain quantities that are going to be imports regardless, like processed gravel for the ring roads and access roads. But the basin berms in particular, we're hoping to generate material from the site to use to build those. And, we think this is going to be beneficial also in terms of just, it's going to slow down the stormwater coming off the hill as well, because we're kind of flattening off the top of the hill there. So,
Jeff, so you reference in kind of in the center page where you have these little mounds. You can tell with the lines going across, there's like a little mound going through. So you're just basically talking about leveling those off a little bit to make the where the solar landing is and the farm's going to be. That would be a little more level, right?
Correct. Yeah. Right now it's kind of like a dome top hill, and we're basically going to kind of shave the top of that dome off. So that's what those kind of oval shaped contours are depicting. Yep.
The contours get further apart, they get more level.
Yep.
Yep. So we're basically just lowering that, and that's underneath the panel area. This just shows it a little bit clearer without the panels turned on.
How many cubic yards, I mean, how many cubic yards do you think you're moving out of that? It sounds kind of cool, but I'm just curious.
It's probably going to be in the vicinity of probably like 20,000, 15 to 20,000 cubic yards. So it's just because all the, yep.
Sorry. Is any of this material going off-site?
Yeah, my question.
No, the idea is to use that material to build the basin berms, because all the basin berms are currently like designed as fill above grade, just based on the groundwater conditions. All of our basin berms are kind of building up above the existing grade, so we need that material to kind of build those earthen berms.
And you're satisfied it's going to meet the spec for the berm?
So we have spec'd an impervious core material for the berms, so that the core of the berm is going to be a material that's going to be very impermeable, because we don't want any seepage getting through. But we may have them, we'll likely have the material tested as well. I mean, the on-site material is kind of glacial till, so it may actually work really well as a core material itself, but it would have to meet the specs that we typically would have for that impervious core material.
What kind of area is that horizontally plan view area that you're shaving?
Yeah, the shape there.
Yeah.
Give me a second. It is pretty good sized area. Lengthwise, it's about almost 800 feet lengthwise, and the width of it's probably about 250 feet.
So is this gonna change, your initial calculations for your stormwater was based off of the current topography, and now you're changing the topography here? Are you gonna be increasing the water flow into that basin that was initially gonna be planned for that area? Does that have to be looked at to be increased size?
Yeah, so we actually submitted a revised stormwater report to the Concom along with these plans. That's going to get reviewed by the peer review consultant. We did update the calculations, because you're correct. But fortunately, what we're proposing actually makes the stormwater runoff better in terms of the numbers. It's going to lower the runoff slightly, because we're taking that pitch out of the hill and we're flattening it off. So our kind of time of concentration flow path down to the basin becomes a little bit longer. So it actually is going to help the design a little bit. So we've accounted for that.
And I'm sure you're modeling it so that it's a, vegetated surface, not
Absolutely. Yeah, they're gonna have to put topsoil back down on that, and because for the dual use, we need that area under the panels to be vegetative and arable for crops. So we will need to put that topsoil layer back down.
Yeah. So for continuity, Jeff, please get me a copy of whatever you gave to the Concom.
Yep.
Okay, right. Any other questions, Bill?
No.
No. Do you have anything else?
Tracy, hearing this?
Any butters?
Yeah. Any butters, people wishing to speak or ask questions on this project?
Neighbors?
I'm gonna throw one out there.
Name and address?
Mike Zwicker, 46 Oak Street. They're not showing, and I asked it from the very beginning, where you're doing the work, what kind of openings or driveways are across the street. Because the entrance that you're putting in, there's a driveway, if I'm not mistaken, directly across from that opening. And you're not showing it on your print. Because I'm afraid any water coming out of there is gonna run right down their driveway. And that's all downhill.
We did ask that at the last meeting, to show.
And I've been asking them to run along to show what's across the street from anything that you're doing.
Yeah, so there is a house, there's that new house next to yours, Mike, that's directly across from there, that's 50 Oak Street. We did add that driveway location on the plan.
Wrong driveway though. There's another driveway between Shirley's house and that one. Their house is tucked way down into the backside. All you see is a driveway. You don't see the house.
Yep. You're correct that driveway is not shown. One of the things that I will say is that on that section of Oak Street, it's pitching towards the south, and the road is also crowned such that water coming out of our driveway entrance is going to flow along the easterly gutter line of Oak Street and down towards past the driveway for 45 Oak. It's going to stay on our side of the road, basically. So it shouldn't be an issue of going down anyone's driveway because of the crown of the road there.
I agree with you on some aspect of it, but now you're saying that the water's gonna run down the road and there's no drainage ditch on that side of the road until you get past Susan's house. So that means that water's gonna be sitting in the road because it has no place to go. Because all the ground on that side of the road is higher than the road itself, and you know that.
So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of relatively flat there, right in front of Susan's house. It's kind of like a gravelly, sandy pull-off there. I mean, it's fairly flat, and then there's kind of grassed areas in front of the garage. I mean, I don't think it's going to really be in any sort of an issue runoff-wise.
I've heard that story before.
Maybe something to look at is when you're removing some trees that are marked out there, does that open the area for a drainage ditch?
Yeah.
For some of the water that's in the road, you know what I mean?
There's no place to put it.
They're pretty close to a high point, no?
Yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. Are you at a high point there with the driveway?
Yeah,
Where the driveway is currently located is just south of the high point on Oak Street, is actually kind of right on that dangerous curve. So like that's where the high point is, and it's actually flowing south past our driveway there. So the drainage patterns are going to kind of remain as is.
I'm not showing up on here.
Yeah, that was Shirley.
The only thing that, right now, there's no opening like you're putting in. You're putting in a paved opening and stuff. It's just watching out on how you design that to try to slow or stop any extra water getting on Oak Street. The road's narrow enough as it is, and you get the big puddling or ponding in that area, especially in that corner, you're gonna be in trouble.
If they were to crown the road coming in, the paved part, crown that, and then put riprap or gravel on either side.
I'm not.
We're not designers, sorry.
I'm just stating the facts.
Yeah.
I know what's there.
And I think also with Mike's point there is if there's water coming off your driveway into the road, you could, in the winter, possibly creating an ice dam or freeze and stuff like that.
So you already have those issues on Oak Street.
That road already has.
You don't need
issues already.
We'll talk about more. We'll design.
Don't need more.
Correct. So.
I mean, you're gonna have to go and get a driveway permit.
Right, so what we've done in the past is had the highway superintendent make a determination on whether or not a culvert is required and or, any other drainage issues.
I'm sure.
I mean, as you know, on Oak Street, there's 3 spots of driveways on that side of the road. And in the wintertime, it creates nothing but sheet ice where the town's always coming up and having the salt and sand, just those areas.
Trouble with the backhoe too, so.
Yeah.
Jeff, can you show that other driveway in there? Let's get all the driveways that are on the plan across.
Oh, you want to see that other one? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's there, show it.
And we don't need a whole new plan set, Jeff, just that one sheet would be good.
Yeah.
Well, it shows up on multiple sheets though.
Well, get layers.
Anyways, I think that's an easily fixable solution there. I think we could certainly do something like right in the front of like Susan's yard, like kind of where that little sandy pull-off is. I mean, I don't see why we couldn't just do some sort of a crushed stone like trench there just to kind of get the water to go into the soil there versus letting it run along the street if that's a concern.
Well, put on the flags and crown the thing so you don't have that trench, all the gravel coming out of the street. That's not what you were saying, was it? Have the paving continue to the street, but do the crown and get the water to go either side in some sort of crushed stone or something along the sides.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay,
Cool, all right,
excellent.
Thank you, Jeff.
all right, what else?
All right, anything else?
Butters.
Shirley?
No, I'm asking him if there's anything else first. Nothing else, Jeff?
I don't have anything else at this time.
Nobody else in the project has anything else either? None of the other people that are there?
Shirley Mazinski,
Yep,
I'd
Shirley.
I'd like to say something.
Go ahead, Shirley.
Shirley Mazinski, 60 Elm Street. I agree with Mike, because even right now, not the driveway that goes down in, but the other of the new house. If you take a look at that driveway, it's all eroding on one side of it. There is water running down that road. So it needs to be taken seriously, because Mike's right. We've had nothing but problems with driveways on, especially on that side of the road.
Thank you, Shirley. Yeah, we'll look into it for sure. I'm sure John will take a look at it too when he goes up to have the permit for the driveway.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Hey, Bill, you have some stuff to look over that they've submitted, you haven't got to yet?
Yeah, they had submitted a response letter and I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
So do you want us to continue to the next meeting, or do you need more time?
Jeff?
Jeff, you want to be on the next meeting, or do you want us to continue a couple meetings ahead, or?
I think it's the next meeting, the what was the date of it? The 13th?
The 13th.
13th? Yeah, I think we do that. I think we continue to the 13th.
Okay.
I would agree. You know, with this meeting date may even change depending on if the road's already booked. So, and I'll let everybody know.
Yeah, what time?
I'll say that one thing, getting those dead trees out of that corner is good.
Or maybe it'll be open by then.
Good luck.
Continue with 8 o'clock.
So, yeah, I'd say 8 o'clock would be good. You think it starts, it's gonna be half an hour?
It's first half hour. 7:45.
7:45.
Yeah. All right, I'll make a motion to continue the Blue Wave Solar on 45 Oak Street to May 13th, Wednesday at 7:45.
Second. Motion made by Les, seconded by Jake. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Tracy?
Aye.
I abstain.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, one abstention from Mike.
Nice chopping.
All right, thank you. All right, so we'll see you on the 13th.
Did
Yeah.
you see that?
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff, nice job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, see you on the 13th.
I'm back.
Hopefully here, but if not on TV.
All right, thanks.
Hey, good luck, stay healthy.
Yeah, you too.
I'm back in.
Citizen Mike.
Okay, so next on the agenda, we have discussion items. First is Sleepy Hollow earth removal grading and progress plan. I know Andy's here tonight, so if you could click on that, Kevin. And if you click on the top link,
Existing conditions.
yes,
Bill?
yeah. So this,
I kind of bounce out of it.
I was wondering why you do that. I'm like, yeah, that's it.
This is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So go ahead, Andy.
Well, actually, the,
Can you give me your name and address? Just for the
Andrew
record.
Leonard, 1 Lackey Dam Road.
Thank you.
You live there?
So the only thing really left to do is dig the test pits for the subdrain in and out,
Okay.
gravel the road.
This was for an extension on the earth removal permit, I think. That's
Oh,
what this
okay.
discussion was. The subdivision, you and I are working on.
Yeah, yeah. So this was just the interim as-built?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what to,
Yeah, I think you're seeking, correct me if I'm wrong, you had been granted an extension and this plan was to satisfy the board's requirement to see where you're at with the grades for an as-built.
yeah.
And then I think you were talking about maybe shifting some of the material around, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's been so long.
No, I think that's where we left it off.
Right.
So this plan kind of reflects where you're at with respect to what was permitted
At that snapshot in time.
at that point in time. And maybe Rick had mentioned this, there was talk about shifting some of the material around internal to the site.
Yeah, so all that got shifted around was to subgrade the road and the shoulders, you know, the sidewalk areas and that. So when they went back there, which was, I'm assuming it's been so long after this.
Yeah.
Now the earth got kicked around to reflect more the proposed grades.
Yeah. So, I mean, they are moving along pretty well out there. And I'm hopeful we could get some binder down sometime.
In May.
In May.
There's not much more work for you guys to do up there, is there? Other than,
Well, we also have the issue of, you know, restoration of the site, and I don't know if you want to spend a minute talking about that.
the lumen seed?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So everyone knows, we have two things going on, as we often do. This is an earth removal permit and a subdivision. So we have surety for restoration of the earth removal permit, and at the same time, we got the subdivision construction going on. So,
Correct.
go ahead.
So, the rear slope at the end of the cul-de-sac is shaped, so we're dodging raindrops. So the next thing to do is when it's dry enough, just look up the loam, do that slope. Then the left slope along the six of butters up there on Monroe.
Yeah.
Can then be shaped because we're using that to lug the loam up.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you are intending on restoring the site with loam and seed, even though these are logs.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, and
So
that's what
kind
I
of
thought
where I was
was the direction of the
Yeah,
board.
Okay.
I mean, but while we're on that discussion, and we touched upon this at a previous meeting, everything's loaned. I'm looking ahead in time. The road's binder, there's a loan on the roadway in place. A builder wants to build a house there, and the grass is not established. You know, that was something that, because like you said, Bill, we're in this kind of weird
transition.
Earth removal, kind of like.
It becomes a
rolling into
question on the
Ninth
lot
Street.
releases, so that kind of swings it over to the subdivision. And, you know, so there's the two things. Are we gonna release lots, assuming surety's posted? And then what are we doing about surety with the restoration?
So it's a chicken or the egg thing, right?
Well,
Yeah, kind of.
Go ahead.
thinking about that, because we are in discussion with the abutters.
Yeah.
And that may change the earth removal.
Yeah.
To be determined. So one thing that we were thinking was, there would be surety on the road. Then also there would be surety on the balance or whatever the board would determine for the earth removal. So there would be, is there a scenario where there could be two sureties?
The problem that arises, and we kind of experienced this on Glen Street, is now you have a different owner. We don't have technically a right to go on their property and restore something.
Yeah.
It's problematic.
From both sides.
Right. So that's why we try to get the restoration done first before they transfer title to the property.
Yeah, I don't know how it'll play out.
I mean,
That's why
I'm willing to work with you and make recommendations for the board, but it's a complicated thing.
Exactly, that's why our intent is to loan everything.
Yeah.
But then that, I guess, asking, then that earth removal is closed out.
Right.
Then something changes with the neighbors or the lots on the right,
Yeah.
going in beyond the pond.
Yeah.
Those will have cut, there'll be an earth removal for those. Once those, so there'll be future.
And
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you almost want to stage, I guess, the subdivision plan then, if that's the case.
Now, you want to clean up what's already there.
What you want to do in the front, you
The earth
can
removal,
Yeah.
clean it up.
I would, and that's why I was saying, I recall a discussion about some of the grades changing, and maybe you want to deal with that now.
We're building it to the proposed earth removal.
Right.
That's
Right,
what,
that's what that
which is,
plan shows.
which is a combination of the subdivision and the earth.
Right.
The roadway grades and the slopes. That's what we're,
But isn't every house gonna sort of work with the approved and completed, earth removal that you've put grass and loam on, and then you cut a house out of wherever you're putting it?
correct, but those house lots, we had this discussion, Jimmy and I, with Gary Air last week, because of those lots on the right beyond the pond, when those get designed and go for a building permit, there's gonna be in excess of 300 yards and will require an individual earth removal.
But, well, why can't you mediate and work with the slopes out of there and build a house with, for the most part, so you're not at 300 yards, you maybe at 50 yards or something?
Listen,
No, it just, it wouldn't.
Well, I'm a builder, I mean, I know how it goes, so.
People cross
we can
that.
talk.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm just,
I've got an idea.
it's so, yeah, so we're looking for suggestions, and
One at a time.
I think what we're trying to do is wrap up the earth removal.
correct,
Wrap up.
Yeah.
Seed it, loom it, seed it, get it all done,
yeah.
finish it.
So, in other words,
That's our intent.
So,
these grades are pretty darn close to what was permitted. Is the bottom line.
right, now get it all.
So they got a loam and seed at this point.
Correct. Then that cleans that up. I think that takes that off the books, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
Once that's
our,
all done.
that's our intent.
And then the intent to move forward is up to you on which way you want to
Yeah,
go.
then at the same time, it's binder, and then people are trying to build lots.
Yeah, I can't see building and releasing lots while there's,
It's open earth removal.
Yeah, let's get it done and buttoned up.
It creates so much trouble.
It's, I understand, it's, and that's what our intent is to shape this, loam it, and seed it.
Yeah. Build it, do it to what you permitted for. And then
Yeah.
Plus, it just clean the book.
Close enough.
Sign off, and then you're
So
done.
you're allowed, any applicant would be allowed to do an earth removal under 600 yards, right,
300 cubic yards per year,
per year,
so it's a rolling year,
Per lot.
so. How many?
Right.
Per property.
per property,
How many?
300 cubic yards.
No, I understand, it's just, so that, well, let's take.
Cross that bridge.
Future problems.
That's another day.
Yeah, that's another day.
I-
Just recognize,
No,
I recognize.
Don't open up that can yet. Just-
Yeah, because we ended up in that can, that's where we're learning.
You want to get off the can.
Right.
Yeah.
It's valid, for sure. All right, anything else, Bill?
Not on that, unless you have anything else you want to talk about. So I think we can take that off the agenda. Just keep moving on the restoration, I guess.
Thank you.
Well,
I think
we
if something
we
comes
got
up,
other
we have
things.
more.
I think so, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
hope so.
So, moving on to the next item, this is earth removal permit for Glen Street. I was out there today with
Oh, Glen Street, yeah.
Murray.
That's the new house.
Kevin, can you go to that link? So the
Okay.
top one,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go
I'm gonna
ahead.
I'm gonna recuse myself from item 2 and 3 under discussion.
Okay,
I'll see you back.
thank you. Okay, thank you, Trace.
Thanks.
So-
Tracy will recuse herself for items 2 and 3.
so site photos right there. So I went out today, these photos are from today. If you had an interest in getting a closer look on the photo, Kevin, you could click on it and it'll zoom in. So basically, the site is in progress. So this site, as you know, has an earth removal permit that expires on May 8th of 2020, okay?
Next week.
Which is prior to our next scheduled meeting.
Correct.
So if you can see, there's a lot of areas that require loam and seed and stabilization.
Yeah, I guess, Phil, can you just describe the pitches, because I for the
Sure,
audience,
sure, we can go-
No,
go-
what has loom, what has seed, what has what material on it?
So,
So it's just tough from this angle.
okay, so maybe Kevin, if you could back up one and.
Scroll up.
No, back up to the last screen, yeah. Can you click on the second one? Okay, this is the as-built drawing that they've submitted, scroll, oh, that's the transmittal, shoot. Just close that, Kevin.
I think you threw your.
Yeah, the third one, sorry.
This one?
Nope, up one up. There you go. All right, scroll down a little. Okay, so here's Glen Street. The site is, that's a wetland down the property, but basically the earth removal permit is everything here,
Okay.
okay? So what I do, I start walking in from Glen Street into the site. The first tall slope you see photos of is gonna be here. This is all a stone driveway at this point, up to roughly around here somewhere.
Okay.
Then it's gravel. The second steep side slope is over here and here. There's a couple of washouts over in this area. This side slope doesn't look like it's been addressed at all, the one facing the solar farm. And this area is a little rough in terms of loam and seed. It's been loamed, but it looks like it's in rough shape.
It's not taken yet.
The bottom left corner, is that been loomed and seeded?
This here?
Correct, yeah. right
That's
there.
been loomed and seeded. It had two big washouts, and you'll see photos, I'll point it out.
And the entryway one as well, which is on the right, is that been loomed and seeded, that little?
This has not been loomed and seeded.
That's photo
one. This has some Eco Aegis erosion control fabric halfway, and then over here it doesn't.
Okay.
So the, okay, so this is as we're walking in the site. Okay, keep coming, keep going. Okay, so this is Glen Street, obviously. That's the driveway going up. This area on the right, you'll see is not loamed and seeded. So scroll up a little. Again, that needs loam and seed. It looks like they're still grading it. This is that first slope on the left. This is the Eco Aegis. It's been sprayed with
That's loam seeded and then
loam
jute
seed
mesh.
and jute mesh. Okay, so keep going. Again, that same side slope, same side slope. This is behind the garage. There's a new garage, so this is on the right over there. This looks like it needs loam and seed or something over here.
Yeah, so, well, go ahead. and
Is that just a gravel
Be happy to.
driveway area?
Yeah, so over here, you can see they're actively loaming. Keep going. This is where that first side slope transitions from the jute mesh to nothing.
Yep.
And you'll see there's rivulets from erosion.
Is that grass there on there?
There's some growth, yeah, but there's also a lot of erosion that's occurring here. Keep going. This is going over the wetland crossing. That's why the boulders are there to keep you from falling in the drink. This again, you'll see the erosion rivulets on this side. And these things, you know, the material that's used, it's unscreened loam. It's got a lot of bones in it. It's got a lot of wood in it. So Andy Murray did dig a little over here, and it is loam.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of other stuff in it
And
too.
it's stabilized.
So these are the two blowouts that I was talking about, and keep going, Kevin. You can see they repaired it, but as you go up and look closely, this is the kind of stuff that's in the soil, okay? So this is, I think, washed down, they pushed it up, but this is the product that you end up getting.
Yeah, so can I jump in?
Yeah.
So everything was loam and seeded in late October, November. So now you've got the whole winter.
Right, there's nothing going on. You can't.
Of washout, which makes the rocks appear. So that washout where those rocks are there on the top picture, those were two fox dens that dug in there, and then that created those
Rocks?
no, not the rocks, the need to repair them. So the guy, you saw the guy, was the guy there with the?
Joe?
Joe.
Yeah.
You met Joe?
Yeah.
So Joe's very talented individual.
He's very proud.
Yeah, he is proud.
Yeah.
So what, and he'll address that. What he did was he purposely put a mix of rocks and stuff into the deep box hole to hold that. And then that, so what he's going over with a power rake, all those areas, and we're redoing them as we speak. We would have seeded some of it today, but for the rain.
Yeah, but you still bring it into all new material, right?
Yeah, so that, and this is back to the whole, which we're learning together, I guess, the issue of earth removal permit house. So like out front, everything was loamed and seeded. Now the resident is changing things around in the front yard.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So you had already loaned it to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they kicked around last weekend. So what we're doing, so
Sorry.
because there's a person living there. So that's the confusing part. So what we've said to them, and we know them, you know, we're gonna loam everything and seed it. So now we're treating, before it was a gravel pit, now we're treating it as someone's yard. So we're, have the power rake there, power raking those rocks out of there, redoing the back. It's a whole different story now. So that's why we had wanted to put the bond in, because we know May 8th.
Yeah.
Even today, it's just grass and grass.
So, I mean, I've got a recommendation on
Yeah,
that, but I
so
just want,
that's kind of the rest of the story.
yeah,
So, yeah, it's, we're frustrated, you're frustrated.
Well, you're
but
coming
it's
into better weather now.
The situation of someone living there, you know, there was a horse issue yesterday. There's 3 horses living there also.
So-
Which don't like equipment.
In the garage?
There's a barn there. So there's the earth removal and a person with a lot that has their wishes that we're trying to balance.
Right.
Close out.
Can you give me some bittersweet that'll take?
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're almost done with the photos, just to wrap it up. Scroll down a couple more, you know, it's just, and that's the backside.
Yeah,
thing.
we looked at that with Joe D today.
Yeah, that needs to get done.
Yeah.
There's a tree there, I don't know if that's a
We're
big deal.
taking that out.
Okay,
I walked the whole thing
yeah, yeah,
today with Joe D and the owner.
okay. And that's the replication area, which is Concom's issue. And I think that's it. So, what I was gonna suggest, because May 8th is coming up quickly, Murray has submitted a new draft application.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't have fees or anything for our review, and I looked at it, and actually it had the new owner as applicant, which I think complicates things tremendously.
We don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I think the current applicant should be maintained throughout the project.
Is that
GBI. So if they're willing to, I would say they need to. Otherwise, you know, we get into a situation where the new applicant's gonna have to post surety for the entire site, which you know, not just, because I understand some grades still may change. Is that the case? That's what Murray said?
Not out back.
In terms of material going out.
Yeah, minor out back.
And so it's not limited to that little minor area. We're talking about bonding the whole site.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would hate to have the new owner be responsible for something that they didn't do. So I would suggest that you have the current applicant be maintained throughout.
Yeah.
For the 1-year extension that Murray mentioned to me. You carry the surety through that time period, the current surety, same thing. And then, you know, we wrap up the project. Now, here's the hook. We're at a point in time where the board has to take action or direction on this, because May 8th is the end of the permit. So I would ask that the board consider, if I don't get a permit application, today's Thursday, let's say Monday, by Monday morning, from GBI for 1-year extension,
Grace, are you listening?
She's off.
then the board needs to vote to authorize me to begin proceedings to pull the surety.
When's the date on when it expires, Bill? I just
First.
I just want to look at the dates.
That's next Friday?
You're talking
We'll grant it.
Next Friday.
next Friday when it's up.
It's not a complicated thing. It's the
No, no.
same drawings. It's,
Right. No,
everything's the same. It's just 1-year extension. It's the application form.
Excuse me, just refilling out that paperwork and have it.
Yeah.
Change the
CGI.
dates.
Yeah.
So at least get you a
If
draft.
they don't file it by Monday, where's my calendar here?
Monday is one.
Monday, the 4th. Monday, the 4th,
Morning.
then I instruct town council to start pulling the surety.
Should we have till 8:30?
They can't file
I would, no.
I'll give you till noon.
Yeah, I mean,
it. Bill,
just in case the revisions are not right,
We know
so
it's-
that's the 4th, and then you can go on Tuesday, the 5th,
All right.
town council.
They can't file before Monday.
They can file on Monday.
Huh?
They can file
Monday morning
tomorrow.
to the town.
It's not that complicated.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow's a Friday.
I'm
The place is closed.
Well,
Yeah.
You can't get in here.
till noon.
It's the review and
Hey,
stuff.
They were making a whole
Scan and
bill
send it through.
yeah, I mean, the-
They could drop it in the box too.
I think on what you're saying is legit. I mean, it's the 8th. We're not gonna meet before then.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I need a vote. I need a vote.
Yeah, you need to.
do you need a motion or do you want?
Gonna need a motion and a vote.
Okay, go ahead.
So we're gonna have a motion where Bill is authorized to move on removing surety if he has no information by
A complete application submitted
Monday,
on Monday at noon,
noon, at noon time,
Monday the 4th, May 4th.
4th of May.
That's the motion.
That's the motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mike, seconded by Aaron. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, one abstention from Tracy. Thank you.
Cool beans.
Okay.
Okay, since you're here,
Anything else, Randy?
I'm not looking for decisions on these two things. These are not on the agenda, but I just wanted you, if you don't mind, Kevin, down here, clicking Sleepy Hollow first. We already talked about this. Yeah. Okay, go back. And do Pine Area E. And I don't know if you want to talk about this.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
ABC.
Composite plan showing various contours. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so, the last meeting, I think the board, Bill asked just if there was a plan. So what happens with Area E, which is the DeVries family,
Oh, yeah.
that property line
Yeah.
coincidentally is the, town line, Sutton.
Yeah.
So in Douglas, you have the DeVries family.
Yeah.
And in Sutton, you have the Bedoin family.
Yep.
So what's always happened is Pine would do the design for, the DeVries family. And this goes back, I don't know how many years, the board would know, I would. Mary Bedoin, and that would have been Heritage. And then Mary Bedoin, has always done her own engineering with G&H. So all this is, I think, Bill knows, but,
Yeah.
so what you see here is a Guerriere plan done separately from the Heritage plan. And what Bill's pointing at is the grades don't jive because they were done independently.
Yeah.
And we're at the same level, so it hasn't become independent in the real world, but on a plan, the proposed grades at the town line don't jive. So I think, Bill,
So the thing I mentioned to Marie today, sorry, is this plan is confusing as heck, okay?
put together, yeah.
Well,
And
let's be familiar with
The goal is you have a mound in between two towns that they want to knock down. not rocket science.
They don't close those lines.
No,
Go ahead.
no,
No.
To the top.
But there's contours on top of contours on top of contours that are all representing different things. Probably on Douglas's side, at least 3 different sets of contours from different time periods. And, I know what's going on because I know it.
Right.
But it's not clear.
So maybe the thing to do, because when we looked at this, to put just, all we did was what the Guerriere plan up to the, Heritage.
Right.
Allen plan, I believe, I'd have to look at the grades. But what happens is that the DeVries property's up here, town line's here, the Bedoin property's here. So it's someday it'll be.
Not in reality, on plan.
On plan.
On plan.
In reality, it's like this.
Yes.
And then slopes down to Sutton.
Right.
With the town line here. So I think where you're leading up to is there should be some coordination between the plans.
Well, I mean, simplify it.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable.
So, no, and we weren't trying to be acceptable. What the
Okay.
board asked for, is there a plan for Sutton? And there is.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So that's what we did. Because that was the question from the board. Is there even a plan in Sutton?
Yeah.
And yes. Oh, but they don't jive. They don't jive. Yeah.
Because your earth removal, you're
2 different towns, 2 different grades.
But you're removing the material out of Sutton, but you're accessing, equipment accesses through Douglas, and
Correct.
you're already earth removal in Douglas, so, since you guys are on point for doing the work, you know what I mean, you should be on point with the engineering to make sure everything comes together on one plan.
Okay.
That's it.
I just wanted to update you.
So, but that happens,
Yeah. So that's all I have for Andy.
that was enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks, Andy.
Let me get number 4, Bill.
Yeah, I gotta call it up.
Yeah, we see this.
Okay, 93 Davis Street, I think somebody is in the meeting room for this. So we've gotten an application for a site plan review. I'm just asking for the board's instruction. My recommendation is, I'm predisposed indefinitely for the most part. I'm probably spending 80% of my time on other things. So I'm recommending that we send this application out for peer review.
Sure. To who? Absolutely.
I'll solicit proposals. So the hearing's gonna open probably wherever Maria had said, I don't know. So before it opens, at least we'll get the ball rolling and we'll get a package to a peer review.
Do you need a motion for
Is
that?
that,
I do.
yeah, is that consultant gonna come before our board with,
Yes.
I mean, because if you're overwhelmed.
So what I'd like to do is solicit proposals. I'm happy to send all the proposals out to everyone here as well as the applicant. I'll communicate with the applicant and see if they have an objection, and I'll talk to Ernie too, on who we perceive as the low bid, or we could just make a selection at the next meeting. That might be safe.
Just in case.
That might be.
A conflict between the developer and say they had issues with somebody that.
Yeah, you know what I'll do is I'll share it with them and then I'll distribute it for the next board meeting so that you guys can make a recommendation at that
And make
point.
sure everything's on.
Yeah, now I think someone is here in the chat room
Yeah.
for this,
Yes.
so.
That's me. This is T
Who?
and Z. T and Z that you see at the top is 93 Davis.
What's your full name?
Yeah.
So, just
Who
so
is
I know. And your last name?
Madison.
Okay.
Teresa Madison.
Teresa Madison, okay. Yeah, so I think that's the way to proceed. I just feel if we're gonna bring in a consultant, just so that consultant works with the board directly for the review of this, to not get any direction or any confusion if you're weighing in and the consultant's weighing in. I think it'll cause more confusion.
I mean,
consultant.
If I'm here and I see something they didn't catch that's not in compliance, I'm gonna comment on it.
Yeah, your comments go to them, right? Would go to the engineering consultant.
No, I'd be here at the board meeting.
Okay.
He's still our engineer.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
Well, it's unusual when we have a consultant weighing in, you know.
Okay. We hire them regularly.
Yeah. For three. Three.
So are we putting up this, can you explain to me what we're doing is we're gonna put this out to bid and then you're gonna decide on somebody at the next meeting on the 13th? Or are you gonna make that decision and then we'll be on the agenda for the 13th?
Maria will contact you when the hearing is scheduled. The next meeting is when the board will make a decision on the consultant.
Yeah. To make sure there's no conflict.
The next meeting,
Applicant too. Yeah.
so the next meeting is gonna be a decision as to who's gonna be the consultant.
Yes, correct.
So we're gonna vote that you're gonna put it out so that we can get to that next meeting and you can make a decision as to who it's gonna be?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
We're gonna vote right now. And then
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, Bill, anything further? Okay, someone make a motion, please?
Anyone else?
So a motion needs to be made that an outside bill solicits consultants for the JEH Realty Estate Investment Company for the 40 Depot Street.
Site plan review.
Site plan review.
Yep.
No.
93 Davis,
93 days.
Sorry,
93 Davis,
193 Davis, Realty Trust.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, one line.
Motion made by Mike, somebody second that?
I'll second it.
The other Mike? Okay, any further discussion?
Thank you very much.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Tracy, you still on, you back on?
I'm sorry?
No, you're all set.
You're all set.
All right, thank you, everybody, have a great night.
Thank you.
I think she skipped number 4 also.
Bill.
She's still on the call. She's just.
Number 14.
You didn't turn the camera shut
What's
off.
a T?
I think it's their names. If you looked at her,
Maybe not a legal name. Who cares what the business? I mean, that's.
oh, yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So it's Teresa Madison? Is that a
Yes,
business?
that's what she said.
Z&T is the business.
What is it?
They are a recreational marijuana facility.
Oh, it's not Carol's. It's in Oxford. Just as
She's
the
got
new
a
one.
closed community agreement already in place with them.
Oh, we did. I didn't know.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
excellent. I heard about it, I didn't have the plan yet. Someone said that they're opening up shop next week. I was like, well, I haven't seen the plan.
They are like blasting through the permitting process.
No,
So.
I just heard that they're opening up shop next week, and I was like,
What do they do?
New
you
building.
can get your Z.
Yep. Intersection of Davis and
All
Monroe.
right.
If somebody has, like, she's still on the conference, she's just, like I said, she's muted out, and she's got her camera down.
No.
Okay, well, then,
Near Granny Tech. Kitty corner.
There's Tracy.
Hi, Tracy, you back?
I'm back.
Did
We got
did
one
you,
more.
on the last vote, for us to get an outside consultant, did you try to that, or, no?
No, she can't.
I
She's not-
You excuse yourself from that too? Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
thank you,
professionally, I'm 2 and 3.
okay. Thank you,
Sorry about that.
you're back now then, okay. All right, Bill, next one?
Next one's 40 Depot. In your packet is the decision which Ernie signed. I did send that around and solicit comments.
Yep.
The only thing I want to point out is number 32, 33, and 34 were discussed at the last planning board meeting, and it wasn't in the draft I sent you.
Yep.
So I added those 3 things and then sent it out.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay.
Good.
All right,
In your packet, you have an email from the town accountant regarding the planning board budget. She's looking to see if we think we have any surplus funds that we would make available to the town as a result of COVID-19 stuff.
We're gonna get nickels in the heads anyways.
Okay?
What do you mean, we can't get our chairs now?
No chairs for you. So currently we have 1,200 left.
Well, what are we using for the peer review? What money? It comes out of the app.
That's part of the application fee. So we have 1216 left. So I do want to point out, If we do have a zoning hearing for town meeting, that's gonna be advertised, that's gonna be roughly $260.
Yeah.
And we're looking at potentially, but not necessarily, solar, revised zoning map, and then we had talked about non-conforming lots, but I don't know.
We do $200.
Well, here's the other thing is, you know, I don't know, printers and other equipment that we need for planning and stuff like that. I mean, the one that's in your office area, that thing's pretty ancient. A printer and copier that's in the middle aisle.
Oh, that, yeah, you guys wouldn't pay for that.
No,
that'd
but
be-
just, you know, but we also talked about other expenses that we're not, mailings or other things that we may have to do. So $1,200 doesn't give us, doesn't
Yeah,
go far
but
when
if
we
we
get
give
things.
a couple $100, you know, what I'm saying is like everyone's pitching in at this point. You know, so, you know. That's good.
Yeah, Bill, you,
So I have some logic here, you know, let's say $300 for 3 hearings, that's $900. Keep that in the account and then give the balance.
We'll keep $1,000, keep the balance.
Yeah.
It's something. If every,
What do we do? How much?
we had 1,200 or something,
Yeah,
so keep 1,000.
maintain 1,000 in the account.
Okay, and so give $200 towards the.
Or just get
supplies.
Well, yeah,
Where's it going?
So,
it's undefined.
No, it goes into the.
imagine that's what they're
General
doing.
fund.
They-
Yeah, try to keep $1,000.
for moving funds, you need a vote on that, or we just?
Yeah, I'd need a vote.
Yes.
And then she's gonna need an email from you, Ronnie.
Do you want me to explain some of the
Sure,
transfer parts of it?
sure.
So right now, because we're not doing a town meeting, the only thing that we are authorized to do legally for fund change is to transfer it between departments. So that's why Gene's reaching out to the various different departments such as zoning, saying, all right, I can do a fund transfer from zoning to, let's say, you know, the fire department, for the acquisition of masks or wherever it is. Until we actually go to town meeting, we can't have a solidified budget and we cannot take anything out of free cash.
Okay. Okay, I see. All right, so that sheds a little more light on it. I mean, because that's what, so I'm okay with the think $300, then we'll put the 900 towards what Gene needs.
Well, I think you said 1,000.
Keep 1,000.
Maintain 1,000, and then just give the balance, turn the balance over.
Because we're gonna possibly need it. Because if we run short, then
You don't
we're
think
running.
we're
We're in a world, yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So I agree.
Yep.
So,
Make a motion to, oh, go ahead.
no, I'll second, yeah.
Okay, make a motion to maintain, to give $200 towards fund transfer as needed by the town of Douglas, and as the selectmen will engage in which direction it's going at.
So town accountant would.
For the town account.
Yep.
With advisement.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Aaron, seconded by Mike Z. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same? Motion carries.
So that's transfer 200.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, yeah, if we had more money, we transfer more.
No, that's fine, I just want to be clear. Okay, for your convenience, I included a link to the solar bylaw, and it's in your packets. And then we have meeting minutes.
All right, so Bill, on the solar bylaw, you've got this one, sub bullet one underneath in the table area. So it says residential scale, solar, residential scale, land-based solar array, subject to site plan review, pertinent to 9.4.
Hold on. This is exactly what we had distributed last time. The only
Yeah,
thing is we formatted it for town meeting.
Correct, but we changed it out, and I probably would put the sub bullet instead of on the line item, I would put them on the yeses instead. The reason why is because I think we talked about not requiring in your residential areas the need to go to review if you're already in your envelope.
Well, as defined as 30 kilowatts less, right?
But in your building envelope, yeah, so if you're.
In meeting the setbacks.
Correct.
The construction.
Yeah, so why would you need to go to site plan review?
You would.
So sub bullet one says you have to do a site plan review. In the table.
No, that comply with building setback requirements. So basically, if it's within the building envelope, you're good to go, is what it's saying.
Well, but it needs to say also, but it says that it meets the criteria of the setbacks, current construction.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. And we had a discussion on this.
Yeah, we all
And-
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Did we?
Yes.
So where does it talk about the envelope? meeting the building.
It says that comply with the building setback requirements.
Oh, I remember.
That's footnote 1.
So it's not the table I have, that's what I'm just saying.
Well, residential scale increase, so
Yeah.
shall be
I
subject.
might have a different one, Bill, I might have an outdated one.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that is different.
yeah.
I'm just, yeah. I might have.
Les, you're right.
Residential.
You might.
Oh, yeah, if you
might
look
have
at the
a new one
online
here.
version, I'm not sure where this one came.
Okay.
I asked
No,
one-
just-
We met, that's what it did
I
say.
asked someone to print this out.
Guys, I don't know that language, so,
Can you distribute it around?
yeah,
The one that's online is correct.
all right, okay.
Okay,
Hey,
Is that different from this?
Yes.
it is different than that. That's why I was confused. I'm like, what are you talking
No,
about?
I'm missing all that.
Can't read that.
So, yeah, this one here is the one that we have in our packets, is the older version.
That's the old we don't.
That before we sat down and did the edits, so Kevin can pull up the new one, and share it.
Is that the right one?
Correct, yeah, so the edits.
Scroll down.
That's,
Yeah, that's.
There.
I assume that's what got printed out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No problem, that's why I was like.
I thought you were crazy. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's right there.
I'm thinking like tiny glasses. We're good with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see a copy of it in our package. I mean, I got the one from January here.
I can download an email to you.
All right, meeting minutes.
So, or
Phil, could
next meeting's gonna be different. Then see the one where it's just crazy to tell.
awesome.
So,
Anything, Mike?
I just got this. It's the first time I've seen it, so I don't.
So now you have
Okay, we can
three.
postpone.
Do it till next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold
You
on,
have
next
these.
meeting. Hold off. All right, anything outside of what's on our agenda?
nope. Oh, that's it.
No anything further?
Nope.
I want to thank Kevin for being here. Somebody doing this, that's great. Awesome.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Tracy,
Sorry, I'm late to the bye.
Tracy, anything? You all set?
I wanted to say thank you very much for moving the town forward even in these adjusted times. So I appreciate everybody's efforts, extra efforts to make it happen.
Thank you.
Same, yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully it works out.
All right. No further business? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
By Mike G.
Second.
Seconded by Mike G. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained?
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next